Love is thirsty. Love is a $10,000 ring. Love is being a stepmom. Today's episode, we're going to be discussing episodes 1 through 6 of Love is Blind. Also, Edmund, I've called the FBI. Don't you worry. Stay tuned. All right, welcome back to another episode of Fair Hair. Thank you guys again for letting me down. My shorts channel still has 94 subscribers. I know 6 of you can click that button, even if you don't watch my videos. We got to get to that 100 subscriber count. It's been a year and there's 50,000 views. I know you guys can do it. So we're going to be talking about Love is Blind. This is season 9. I wonder if they're going to do something for their decade next year, but this is season 9. It's located in Denver, Colorado. That should be the end of my episode. Actually, roll credits. It's in Denver. So we're going to spend 5 minutes talking about each of the couples, and then I'll tell my overall review for the first 6. So first couple is Anton and Ali. So Anton is from Russia, and Ali is from Brazil. I love saying that. Anyway, so these two couples, basically, I'll show some videos throughout my video about their whole relationship. Basically, she's just never met anybody who liked her outside of like how she looks, because she's gorgeous. And then he's never opened up. Me, overall, my first impression of them, very adorable, very cute. However, their first impression of each other, I felt like after the first kiss, like Anton was kind of like, all right, because she kind of like moved her head to the side and was like seeing, because my thing is like, are you gonna look back at it? You just met me for the first time. So if I go back and I'm just like, and you already, like, he was already drinking, so there was one there. Another thing too was just that, like, with their encounter, I just feel like something about this couple, do I feel like they're gonna say yes at the altar? I think so, but we don't know much until they start actually living with each other. Anton gives me like a traditional Russian man who's gonna want his wife to, like in the preview for the rest of the episodes, that he's gonna pretty much want his wife to not work and be domestic. So in the previous shows that Miss Ali is a traveling nurse, so she pretty much is in and out, and so like she doesn't have time to really clean up after herself, and he put that as a promise that, oh, you don't pick up after yourself or whatever, which I feel like that's actually a really good point. As an adult, the only people who shouldn't pick up after themselves is people who don't know they're messy. So as soon as you know you're messy, you need to start picking up after yourself, okay? And that's like 3 or 4, but maybe 5 at the max. Like, you need to be able to pick up after yourself. I don't care how. Now, you don't have to be type A like me. As you can see, all these boxes are perfectly lined up. You don't have to be type A like me, but you do need that aspect of being able to work with your partner. Likability of saying yes for my perspective, them saying yes, I feel like it's going to be a no, only because I feel like Ali wants to be taken care of a certain particular part. She said, hey, they were talking about her ring. He was like, oh, I only spent $5,000 on it. And it's not really clear whether or not Love is Blind sponsors the ring, but either way, he said, after I spent $5,000, because she wanted to go on a second vacation, he was like, after I spent $5,000, I don't know how much more money is left. And she proceeds to say, oh, well, you should have spent $10,000. Me personally, like, when it comes to a wedding ring, maybe because I'm from Miami, I wouldn't want to walk around with that significant amount of jewelry on me that's worth that amount. Also, like, just losing $10,000, I'd rather lose it in Vegas. Like, imagine one day your ring slips off your finger. Unless it's insured, we don't really know how far that'll go, but definitely for sure, like, I don't know. Overall, I feel like they're gonna say no because she wants a particular lifestyle and he wants her to be domestic. So it's rare that works out, because I feel like her personality type, from what we've been shown, is that she wants, to have her time and be that girl, but she still wants to be outside of the house. So I don't know, he just gives me very much a traditional man. Like, even with waiting till marriage to do, like, he pushed that. I mean, it was consensual, but he pushed that quicker. So The next couple is Edmund and Calabrian. That's how he says it. Remember when I showed you my first look of Love is Blind? I remember saying that like he was a weirdo, which is fine because I'm a weirdo as well, but there's limits. Just overall, like him talking about how like he was been in and out of foster care. His parents would have him one time and they wouldn't. So that was really heartbreaking to hear because he won me back. You know, he was kissing the floor. Just gonna leave that there. But he was kissing the floor. But like that part, I can say he won me back. But then he lost me again when they met. He did the high knee run. I don't know, it's kind of weird, but just overall, like something about I understand him being emotional, but something about his tears just feel very manipulative, you know, just from, it doesn't feel genuine to me. It feels like I'm playing a role. So come to find out, I was right. So they go to Mexico and all the other couples are talking amongst themselves, and they're just saying about, all the couples are talking amongst themselves and they're saying about like, oh, how everybody has hit a home run. Is that what they call it? Everybody has done the do with each other, right? And so he finds out that he's the only person who hasn't. So he starts sucking his teeth, getting mad about, and I'll talk about Calabria in a little bit. But like he starts sucking his teeth and getting mad about it, saying, oh, you're gonna make me wait until that long? It was 4 weeks. And my common sense and my womanly ticker came off. I'm just like, if he can't wait 4 weeks, when you have a kid, it is over. All right. Because they usually say you have to wait 6 to 8 weeks, which me personally, I feel like you should wait 3 months before you do the do after giving birth. Not even for medical reasons, that's one way, but just psychological, like you need to get accustomed with the fact that your life is never going to be the same again. And not in a bad way, as in like psychologically, it's going to be like, am I a mom or am I wifey? You know, so you're both. But it's just like, just psychologically being able to put your mindset in that, you know. So I just feel like 3 months, and it's also resting time too. Like anytime you have free, you want to rest. Okay. So you don't want to be thinking about that. But like I said, he's tripping about 4 weeks, scares me, terrifies me for her. I've called the FBI. But basically that was one piece. And so with Calabria, so her background is she's a traveling social worker. Her dream is to basically provide homes for Section 8, basically give them opportunities, because I'm the same way as well, where I feel like some of the jobs I've been hired for in the past, I feel like somebody from, you know, the hood could do as well. It's just that if you don't sound like this, the opportunity is already going to be lost. And then as well as just being placed in those job opportunities like nearby, because if you've noticed, like a lot of these apartments with Section 8, they kind of sit back, they're away from the actual jobs that make money. So it's like a catch-22 in that way. But I liked her idea for that. But then she expounds, and she's like saying, hey, you know, I grew up where my father just chose not to be a father, and I forgave him for that, but I don't know if I could have him in my life. And Edmund was like, oh, well, it was my mom, I forgive her. You know, why does she have to miss out on my life as an adult because she wasn't there when I was younger? And I was like, my big thing is like with forgiveness, like as someone who didn't have an ideal childhood, it was decent, but an ideal childhood, forgiveness, it's so hard to forgive. You know, you mourn the type of parents you wanted. You mourn just the childhood that you wish you would have had. But I understand Edmund's perspective, but my thing is we also got to hold these adults accountable. Like some of these adults who did these things, they were like in their 30s, in their 40s doing these things. Like you got to hold these, you can't pacify them. So like, I feel like she also presented another option too. Calabria was, because she's doubting his masculinity, which I get. It's the voice. She want a big dog. Like he sounds nasally, so I can understand that. But she said, if I'm in the club somewhere and somebody gets their harm on me, what would you do? And he said, I would call security. And he's right. Back in the day, you could sit there and be like, hey, that's my lady, I challenge you to a duel. Now they'll pull a pew 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 out of nowhere. So out of safety, I would love that my man would be like, okay, let's just leave this place. They don't deserve our money. Okay. And I don't think they're gonna say yes at the altar. So next person, Nick and Annie. My thing with Nick and Annie, so Annie was, I wouldn't say in a love triangle, I guess you can't say, but Annie had two options. She had Brendan, which he's the finest person on this show. I need y'all to know that. I need y'all to, he's the most good looking person in Denver, according to the show, but he's the best. It's not even close. So she had the option of Brendan and she had the option of Nick. And my thing with Nick is that something about Nick just always gave like he's doing a caricature of what you think a masculine man is. And I don't like that. Now, a lot of people have hinted toward him being part of LGBTQ community, which I think is inappropriate because at the end of the day, somebody's choice to come out is 100% their choice. You do not get that. You do not get to decide when they get to show that. However, if it does turn out that he is part of that community, I feel like it is his sole duty to let Miss Annie know that he is not interested in her like that. Because there's been several stories where they'll get married and have the baby and be like, okay, well, now I don't have to spend money on a donor, and then go, yeah, I'm coming from, be who they really want to be with. So I feel like in that aspect, if he isn't, but that was pretty much the triangle. So Annie ended up choosing Nick because Brendan wasn't being forthright about his feelings. And in a way, I can kind of see that. I can see Annie's perspective because to me, I feel like with men, I understand that we, like, just as a society, have not done a good job of taking care of y'all feelings, which I feel like men's feelings are not being taken care of at all correctly. However, it is time to get therapy. It is time to work that out. And it is not time. Like, I didn't realize till I got to 34 that so many people use marriage as a cover up for their brokenness. Like, it's a way to kind of like, okay, look at this shiny object. I'm still broken inside, but look at this shiny object. So like, there's a lot of unhealed people getting married because there's like, that's a good distractor. Let me have the kid. That's a good distractor, you know? And in that same aspect, I thought that was a spider. I was like, wait a minute. But yeah, in that same aspect, I just feel like in that same aspect, okay, it's inside of the screen. Okay, baby. I want to show y'all this spider so bad. Where'd it go? Oh no. Okay, anyways, if I run out of here, that means the spider got out of the window. Anyways, so, but overall, like, I'm just more deterred about the fact that, like, we were able to get this far with this couple because of the fact that they look like they love each other. But I personally, I don't feel like they do. I feel like Annie got Nick to piss Brendan off to get him to go faster. But my thing is, like, she's losing out on a big one because I feel like Nick is just playing a role. Like, I definitely do not feel like Nick is in it 100%. I feel like he's just here to try to prove that he's masculine, you know? But do I feel like he loves Annie? I think he tolerates her, but love is different. Love is not, I don't know. He also had another person too. Kate was another person that he was with that he said no to because she didn't believe in God, which that's 100%. That is a deal breaker for me. Even with a different religion, like if someone, like, let's say I was dating someone who studied Buddhism, who followed Buddhism, and they're like, hey, let's get married, it'd be no. I'm not giving up God. I'll give up my braids. I'll give up my teeth. I don't know about my teeth, but like, I'll give up everything, but I'm not giving up God. Sorry. That's going to be a no. So I understand that. But the way he went about it was disgusting. He was very aggressive. He was like, oh, I thought, because her mom unfortunately passed away from, she had cancer. And she's like, how could God be real if that happened? We can go off of that. That can be another separate video. But he went at her very aggressively, and then Brendan just walks off finally away. So I think when they get to the end, I feel like Nick is gonna change his face again. He's like, hey, actually no, and Annie is gonna be left at the altar by herself. All right, the next one is Money Meg and Jordan. So Jordan is a single father. He's 29. I have these ages for a reason. He's 29 and he has a 5-year-old. So that means he had a kid like at 24, basically when he was a child. So the issue with Money Meg is 33. She's coming on the show and she's like saying, hey, I have all this money and my main issue, I think she called herself Sparkle Meg. I'm assuming she can't call her, I don't know why she just didn't call herself Megan Sparkle. That'd have been a cute play on words, but I can see where that get twisted. But so Sparkle Meg, her options, she ends up going with Jordan, and then her other option was Blake. Blake ends up ghosting the show. Pretty, I wouldn't say rare, but this is the first time I've seen where somebody's actually ghosted on the show. And then Mike is her usual type. Mike is older. He's 37. She's 33. Like, he's very much that charming. He gives me real estate tycoon vibes. Like, he has that charismatic personality that will trick you right out your money and your draws. So he gives me like he would be a scammer, because just like the level of charisma he has is not natural. It sounds like it's almost, I'm trying to describe it, like it sounds like it's almost like sanctioned in a way. Like he has like a script he's reading, because at one point, like when Money Meg didn't make her choice be known, and he was like, well, I'm gonna leave out this door. It's like there's like a deal. Like, hey, if I give you this offer on the deal, but I thought that was pretty crazy that he did that. But definitely aligns with him being a scammer. So Blake to me was her best option. He has no kids, no baby mama drama. He's an accountant like me, so he's very type A. Like the bills will be paid on time. Like he's clean, so just really cool personality to mesh with. So I thought that was pretty dope. But she ended up going with Jordan because she said Jordan makes me laugh. It was so easy to say I love you to him. And I was just like, my thing is that he kind of alludes that the breakup with his baby mama was not cohesive. And so that part scares me, not a little, but a whole lot. There is this tendency for women that we're territorial, okay? We are. Men are territorial, but women are territorial. I just do not see a world where someone like Meg is getting married to a Jordan and the baby mama not start turning up, okay? And then Jordan, also, fun fact, he has a vasectomy. So I was reading some of the comments on Reddit, and this comment ate down. One of the comments ate down, said, let a woman come over there, come on that show, have a mastectomy or tubal ligation, have a 5-year-old and be like, who wants me? The options would be 0. And I was like, you were correct. Women, we are too forgiving. Okay, now that doesn't mean that Jordan doesn't deserve love. He seems like a character. He has a lot of tattoos. He seems very much like he's somebody I can see, like he looks like he brings the laughs naturally. But to me, for you to have a vasectomy, there was some finality with that. Now, of course, with men getting vasectomy, the chances of it being reversed and you still being fertile is higher. But I feel like is higher, but I feel like you need to also it's higher, but I feel like you also need to understand that there's a chance that the fertility might be lower. Okay, so he already made that decision in his head that I don't know if I want to have more kids. Vasectomy is I don't want no more. I don't want at all. Okay, and then Money Meg, her background, people are saying that she might have been a sugar baby. That's why she made so much money so quickly, or she invested young. At the end of the day, she's here. Okay, her issue is that she keeps dating the same type, older men, but then she tried younger men, but he was broke. She tried older men, they had all the money, but they didn't want to talk to her. So my thing with Money Meg is the fact that I get where she's coming from, because as a woman, you kind of have to make that choice. Do you want to help him get the bag, or do you want him to already have the bag? Both of them have their pros and their cons to it. Okay. Con for someone who already has the bag, you're disposable. Con for someone who doesn't have the bag, you're here, but you're gonna have to work a little bit longer. Okay. So, it's really the perspective of which one you choose. But do I feel like they're going to say yes? I feel like it's going to be yes from her, but no from him, because y'all forgot there's a kid involved, a 5-year-old. So we don't know if he wants a new mom today. So the next couple is Joe and Madison. This was a pairing that, I'm sorry, I can't believe there's a spider in that window. I think it's because it's raining. I did not know that. Okay. Anyways, viewer discretion advised. I don't even want to show y'all it. But I feel like with Joe and Madison, this was a couple that I'm not gonna lie to you, I glazed over. I forgot who they were at one point, and I was like, what is going on? I was like, who is that? So Joe and Madison, Joe is 27, Madison is 26. Good ages. But good ages there. But like basically, Madison has an eye condition, and then Madison has an eye condition, and then Joe he's just single. Like I guess he has no issues, but we find out that he gets incoherent when he gets drunk. So their first meeting, the first thing he says is like, it just took so much for me to realize everything. That man is not attracted to her. And Madison is so sweet. And the thing about it is, like, he didn't have to say it, like, but men, like, as someone who's been, I'm not saying I'm all that in a bag of Dorito Cool Ranch. That's my favorite chip. I'm not saying I'm all that, but I've been hit on plenty of times to tell you, I've had plenty of men who don't even know my name and they're already in love. Okay? So when you sit there and tell me the first time you saw this girl, you're just like, it just didn't register. Men don't need to know anything about you except the fact that they're attracted to you. That's all they need to know. You don't got to speak English. You don't got to be nice to them. If they're attracted to you, they don't care about nothing else. So for him to sit there and say, it just all came to me. Sir, please. Anyways, he's not attracted to her. And then he goes on to say later on the show, he's just like, I'm just used to dating thinner women. I'm just like, this is why I said that y'all have to stop putting y'all worth into what a man says. Because men do not know what they're talking about. Madison is a size 4. But because Madison has an apple body where, you know, she's more bustier, but she has slimmer legs, the proportions look bigger. Like, I just feel like this girl is gorgeous. Like, she has the body and the glow that people pay for. They go and pay for. But he doesn't like the composition of her body, pretty much. And so afterwards they work that out, and then they go to the pool party. So he's in front of other people, which I feel like a lot of people were saying he was on more stuff because he starts getting incoherent at the pool and he wants to go take a nap. But a lot of people were just like, oh, well, he was getting incoherent because he was on other stuff, or he was playing in the snow, you know. And I was like, incorrect. I feel like at that age, how old is he? He's 27. He knows how to hold his liquor. I feel like most people get a hold on their liquor by 23. All right, because they've been drinking since 18, according rumors. But he's 27. He knows how to drink. So what I think happened is that men find identity in their woman. So if their woman is attractive, they feel attractive. So in his perspective, which I think he's dead wrong, he did not find Madison attractive. So when he was around the other guys, he was just like, he was trying to almost dissociate himself from her. And I was like, you came here together, you're engaged. Okay. And so she goes on, he's like, I'm going to go take a nap, enjoy your time. And I'm just like, to me, I feel like if we came together, we ride together. So she tried to go with him, he pushes off. Anyway, so she comes later on and she's like, hey, how are you doing? So she taps him on the shoulder. He's like, what the? And I'm just like, that tells me he is not attracted to you. Like, he's like, what is going on? He's like, oh, I didn't even know that was you. I'm just waking up. A lot of people keep making excuses. I was like, at the end of the day, I've had friends who are plum drunk and I tapped them on the shoulder like, Claire, you're great. You feel me? Like, it's only like you getting drunk is only an extension of how you really feel about that person. So for me, for someone to if I tap somebody on the shoulder, the first thing they say, whoa, if that was their first response, I don't have much more to talk to this person. Like, you don't find me attractive. Anyways, do I feel like they're going to say yes at the altar? I don't even think they're going to make it out of the honeymoon. Like, this man does not like her. And I hopefully in the previous show they're still together, but I hope that she says no before he embarrasses her yet again. He's embarrassing on national Netflix television, and I will not have it. Like, this girl is breathtaking. Like, just, I don't even have time for this, but at the end of the day, I feel like Joe has Botox. That's what Ali said. Ali said he definitely gets Botox, and like, I cannot really see it, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did. He seems very, very shallow. Okay, so the final couple is Patrick and Casey. Now I have them almost like a question mark because I don't believe it. So Annie was another person who ghosted along with Blake. So she's another person who ghosted along with Blake, and basically she was missing her mom. She couldn't have it anymore, and Patrick is of Asian descent, and then Annie is also of Asian descent. Patrick is Cambodian Chinese, and Annie is full Chinese. So this is very important. Write that down. The reason why this is important is because of the fact that they both do not find each other like in a traditional sense wouldn't find other Asians attractive, which I mean they are what they are around. So in Denver, Colorado, if there's not a high Asian community, I can understand where that comes from, so I can get what that means. Like when I was in South Florida, I went to basically a private school, and the majority of the population there was of Caucasian descent. So it messes with you, like it's very hard to internalize that. But then the after school program was in the hood, so I got that back. But I can see where the internalized hate comes from, because the fact that you keep seeing people who do not look like you and they keep getting chosen. So I can see where that internalized hate comes from. So I definitely understand that perspective, but it's no excuses for the way like the way they interact with each other. Like my heart was breaking because there's like, you're Asian, that's so hot. You're Asian, that's so hot. And I was like, it should be on the connection. It should have nothing to do with whatever race the other person is. So anyways, Annie ends up ghosting. So Patrick, desperate, starts going harder at Casey, because Casey was never like, Annie was his number one, and Casey was kind of, to me, I feel like Casey was always just looped around, because I feel like Patrick got turned off when Casey was like, yeah, before I went on this show, my ex wanted me to go on a dating show to have my life change, but I didn't do that. And I was like, but you did, mama. So anyway, they end up forcing it, together. So they end up meeting, and like the first reaction is Casey kind of makes a face like, because Patrick made it seem like, because Patrick was like, oh, I get told all the time that I'm attracted for an Asian. I was like, first of all, that is a derogatory comment. It is not a compliment. Number two, this is very important. It's supposed to be love is blind. You should not say any aspect of how you look like. Okay. My perspective, I feel like he's cute, but he is not conventionally attractive. Those are two different things. Conventionally attractive is the fact that you can walk anywhere regardless of race, and everybody finds you somewhat attractive. Okay. So basically what ends up happening with that is the fact that Patrick meets Casey, and he's like, oh, what's that dermal for? Because she has a dermal piercing in her chest. The reason why this is important is the reason why it's important is because of the fact that with that dermal piercing, it shows that he's still in a way still traditional. Okay. Me personally, it's just a piercing, but like Asian and Haitian, like we kind of, me and you, like we kind of have the similar cultures where we're very, very abusive to their kids. Wait, no, I can't say that. But very much traditional. Can't have any weird piercings. Can't have any tattoos. Can't have any exotic hair colors. Like very much traditional. If you're gonna come as this, present yourself as this. So I feel like when he saw her dermal, he was like, my family not gonna go for that, and he is correct. So they end up meeting at the hotel, and she's like, oh, he deserves somebody who's better. And so they she ends up breaking off with him before they even go to the honeymoon. Then she jumps on him. And then love is blind, love is messy. They showed a video beforehand of her saying, yeah, in her regular voice, because she uses like little kitten voice when she talks to him. But in her regular voice, she was like, yeah, so I'm not attracted to them. It's not going to grow because her siblings are all like dating Asians or whatever. And she's like, yeah, it's not going to grow. And I'm just like, you could have told him that in the pause. We could have saved all this film and focused right back on these other couples. But that's pretty much how it's left off of. And like, he couldn't really understand that she said no, because she said he said, how can I get in contact with you? She's like, oh, I have Instagram. Someone who wants to get in contact with you is not going to give you their Instagram. I'm going to give you your number. So they're not going to make it to there. So I don't even know if that really counts, but that's at least how I see it. So overall, my review of this season, I don't know how Denver did this, but Denver's actually interesting. Like, my final thoughts is that maybe we need to date our type, okay? Now, what I mean by that, stay with me. When I say date our type, I'm talking about physically. Like, we should date our type. I was wrong. I used to be like, give everybody a chance. We should date our type, because at 34, just me being an observationalist at 34, whenever I see people and they're with their partner and they're breaking their neck to look at somebody else, I was like, that's actually your type. You're with who you settled for. All right. So if your type is blonde hair, blue eyes, and you're with the brunette, I do not need to see you every time we walk outside, every time a Barbie walks by. Okay. Vice versa. If your type is a dark-skinned, beautiful queen, and you're dating someone who's non-melanated, I do not need you every time, like, embarrassing your woman. Like, maybe we need to date our type, because long term it does not uphold. It does not uphold long term, because I was very quick to say, where I was like, we should give everybody a chance. Like, love truly is blind. I was like, I understand that, but we need to date our type, because unfortunately, as humans, we are very shallow. Like, I'm sure people watch my channel because I give educational, not this one. This is a fun one-off. I'm sure they watch my channel because I give them some type of meaning to their day, but they're watching my channel because I'm attractive. Okay. So I feel like we need to lie. We need to stop lying. Like, that's why, like, a lot of these actors and actresses, like, back in the day, a lot of the actors and actresses back in the day, like, they weren't as blindingly attractive as these new ones are. Okay. Like, some of these actors, I'm like, this person is so attractive. And then I see them, and then that's the opening scene. And then I see the rest of the movie. I'm just like, now I see why you were hired. Now I see why you're hired. Okay. Now I see why you're hired. This makes so much sense, but maybe we need to track our type. The couple to me that I feel is going to make it, the closest one is Anton and Allie. Like, they seem very compatible together, but the only thing about it is just that when it comes to money, especially with women, like, we have this tendency to try to lie our way through to low maintenance. If you're a girly that wants a man who's going to pay every single bill in the house, perfect, stick to that. Do not torture this man for the next how long. Vice versa with Megan, Money Meg. Apparently she's wearing Cartier, like real Cartier, not the Sheen stuff I be buying, but she was wearing real Cartier $20,000 bracelet, and she's like, "Oh, I'm okay with Jordan, just doing what he can to get by, or he doesn't do too bad for himself." Like, no, you're not. Okay, you're a vacation in Ibiza. He's a vacation at Disney World. You do not yoke well, and it's not gonna last long. Like, I know money is not important in a marriage or relationship, but the money tendencies that each person has. So if you can, like me personally, I could be worth $2, $3, $4.5 million. I'm going to that Dollar Tree. Okay. I love telling people that I have the fake version of stuff. I love it. They'll be like, "Oh my God, you smell so good." I'm just like, yeah, that's this perfume for $5. That's that for $10. "Oh, your dress is so cute." Ross, Rainbow. Like, you got to marry that person's money tendencies. Money Meg looks like she bought a new wardrobe just for the show, which that's something I would do. But she looks like she wears a real version of everything. They're not going to last long term, but I am interested to see marriage wise, like, who's going to say yes, who's going to say no. But my main issue is the fact that, like, they gave us a lot of pods episodes, but also no pods episodes at all. Like, some of the pods scenes, I was just like, skip. But I had to watch all the way through just in case I caught anything. Edmund, FBI, Nick and Annie, don't think I forgot. You said if your kids are LGBTQ, you're not gonna love them anymore, pretty much. And I'm just like, what was the point of being a parent? Your kids can your kids can represent any part of the spectrum of hetero to homosexual, you know. But me personally, like, I don't know why some of these discussions even get brought onto TV, but I'm glad we pointed it out so we can know these people that we don't like, okay? But don't forget to subscribe, share. It's Claire here. Calabria.